There are some crazy changes coming to Warzone as part of the Season 2 update for Warzone and Vanguard, and today we're diving on into all of the patch notes and everything that's coming, and I'm going to give you guys a rundown of all of the new features that are going to completely remodel how Warzone plays. To start with, we've got Nebula V, which is an ammunition type and a bomb that can now be utilized in Call of Duty Warzone. The ammunition effectively is a field upgrade now that can be utilized in the game, like stopping power was in the past, but the bullets don't have extra damage. The only difference is that when an operator is downed by them, they emit a poisonous gas cloud that could force the operator to bleed out, stop self-reses, or stop other people reviving them. So it'll be interesting to see how this is utilized in Warzone. The next major one are Nebula V bombs, and this is one of the rarest items in Warzone, and it's a briefcase filled with deadly gas and an explosive charge. Once set down in front of an operator, it will detonate after a countdown and cannot be disarmed or destroyed. It deals a high amount of damage in a small radius, and the gas spreads outward, hurting any operator that doesn't have a gas mask. So the gas that collapses from the edges of the zone can now be utilized in an explosive package. And this is really interesting to see. PUBG has blue zone grenades, for example, which do a very similar thing. So it's cool to see how this is going to work. This is basically going to allow you to take out certain buildings from the equation, or stop people camping in certain locations and force them to move with one of these gas-based devices. Speaking of gas, there's now something called a portable decontamination station, so you can actually counteract the gas from the explosive or the actual gas in the zone, and this is really interesting to see. Now, you can basically plant this down like an active protection system or ammo box, and it will filter gas from the area and stop it from hurting anybody within the protective circle. This is really interesting because not only does it counteract the new Nebula V bombs that you can utilize, but it also means that you could use this theoretically in the final circles of the game. However, the catch is that this does show up on the map, so if somebody is utilizing a gas-based protection system or a gas explosive, those are both visual identifiers on the map, which will help you locate enemies. So if you deploy this in the final circle of the game, chances are people are going to know where you are. Next on the list are new points of interest, including a chemical factory, which looks really cool. Now, this is the area on the map between the refinery and the docks, which is currently wrong on the actual map in-game, because it's one of the first places that's going to be changed. This area allegedly features more high-tier loot than you have seen before, but the interesting thing is not only is it guarded by AI, but also allegedly has ways in which you can detonate Nebula V inside of it. So the chemical plant is going to be really interesting, but it does also usher in the first introduction of artificial intelligence or AI or bots within Warzone. The chemical factory is going to be surrounded and protected by AI, and on top of that there are also armored transport trucks which will drive around the map on fixed locations that not only have machine guns that are used on them, but also drop loot if they are destroyed. Weirdly, these aren't new ideas. The armored transport truck, for example, already exists in Sanhok in PUBG, and the AI guards also exists in PUBG Mobile, so it's interesting to see that these have made their way across to Call of Duty Warzone. The next interesting thing is a redeploy balloon, and this is similar to the towers in Apex Legends or the redeployed balloons that you can see in PUBG as well. And effectively, these are little inflatable devices that allow you to zipline to the top of them and parachute off so you can go to different locations much more rapidly. It's really interesting to see this in Warzone, and it means people can move around the map more quickly. However, it can be destroyed by conventional weaponry and costs a few $100s to repair if it does get destroyed. A bomber plane is also coming to Call of Duty Warzone. An actual bomber vehicle which has multiple seats inside of it is actually coming to the game, and I imagine this will be a Vanguard Royale only kind of situation. But allegedly, this thing can not only destroy infantry, vehicles, but also loadout drops and buy stations, which is pretty crazy to see. Now, there are rumors that motorbikes and possibly even tanks will also be making its way to Call of Duty Warzone, likely through Vanguard Royale, so definitely keep an eye out for that as well. And there does appear to be a fair number of new weapons coming to the game as well in this new setup, which is pretty cool to see. At the moment there have been 3 weapons identified, and hopefully we'll get to see these in action really quickly. At the moment it appears we're looking at the OG-43 SMG, a KG M40 rifle, and a Marlin M1917 LMG, so it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Now, there are a couple of other changes happening in the game as well. For example, gas mask animations will no longer interrupt players aiming down sight. This is something that's not a huge surprise considering the new gas weapons in the game. There's also a research lab which is also being added to the map as a point of interest. And the biggest one that I think is going to be most interesting is the full change of Rebirth Island. In the mid-season update to Season 2, there will be a redesign of certain areas of the prison island at the moment, and on top of that there is also going to be an Iron Trials mode for Rebirth which won't have resurgence. So it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out. By the looks of things, we've got an Iron Trials mode for Rebirth, a complete map design overhaul for Rebirth, and all of this other new interesting stuff being added to Caldera as well. I've got to say, I'm actually looking forward to Season 2 of Warzone, and this is something that I haven't been able to say for a while, because there's lots of stuff in here that are just going to shake up how this game works and operates. I think the redeploy balloons are going to be really great for letting people move more quickly, and I think all of this new gas-based equipment, now that gas masks have been fixed, will allow much more strategic play to happen in the game. Whether it's denying areas or denying certain buildings, and then countering that denial, there's lots of new layers of information being added to the game that could be a lot of fun for players. I'm not entirely sure about the AI situation, and we're going to have to see how that pans out, but it's a wait and see kind of thing. And as for the bombers and potential tanks, hopefully those are only restricted to Vanguard Royale, because I really don't want to see that in the base version of Warzone. Don't get me wrong, I think they're going to be a lot of fun, but they're the kind of thing that you only want to use some of the time, and not the kind of thing you want ruining your game all of the time. So I really hope we see some changes on that front. I hope Vanguard Royale continues to be sort of the testing ground, shall we say, for features that could be really good for the game, but could also be completely screwy for the game, like planes, for example. And it seems that they're kind of taking that direction anyway at the moment, which is really good to see. So folks, I hope you enjoyed this update of everything coming in Season 2 of Warzone. Drop a like, we're on the road to 100,000 subscribers, so consider subscribing as well. And there'll be plenty more Season 2 content coming, both live streams, shorts, and videos here on the channel every single day. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.